Hey everybody, welcome to AGT time. This is Cody Patterson along with
Jay Bach. We are ready to talk semifinals for America's Got Talent Champions Season 2.
Semifinals, Jay.
Yeah. So we've had 4 episodes, 10 acts each episode. One golden buzzer from each of those episodes is going on to the finals, and then 3 other acts from those episodes. We had 12 total acts in the semis tonight, and only 6 of those are going to make it to the finals coming up here on Monday.
Yeah, so I thought there was going to be 2 episodes of semifinals. It seems like there's only 1 episode of semifinals. Is that what you're getting as well?
Yep, 1 episode of semis. No golden buzzer on this episode. No wild cards. Nothing nefarious. Just a pretty straightforward. You're either going through or you're not.
Yep, seems fair. So the 6 chosen from this will join the 4 golden buzzers in the finals, and we'll get 10 acts for the finals.
Right, 10 acts for the finals, and it's we're coming right down to it. It should just be this one last episode on Monday, if I am counting it right.
Well, that's the key thing, if we're counting it right, but only the super fans know, Jay.
Right. So with that, of course, we'd always love to hear input from you guys. If you have things you'd like to share, you can reach out to us on Twitter or on our Facebook or email. And the Facebook is AGTcast. The email is agtcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us, AGTtime, at AGTtime. Or if you want to say something to me directly or straight to Cody, it's at One Man Bander or at Cody L. Patterson. And I think that's enough getting the business out of the way. You ready to talk some AGT time?
We got 12 acts to talk. We better get into it, Jay.
All right. First act of the night was our young little comedian, JJ Pantano.
Pantano.
He's a Australia's Got Talent. He was a winner, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Cute little kid. He pulls up in his battery-powered car. Pretty standard JJ Pantano fare here. Making good fun of the judges. Laid into Heidi and Howie and Alicia. He said, "Last week, Alicia, I had you all confused with Alicia Keys, and I want to apologize to Alicia Keys." It's pretty good little joke. So, anything stand out to you with JJ?
No, we got another roasting, which is what we got last week, and he's so adorable. He's really, really cute. I love his costumes that he wears, his little suits and his bow tie. I think he's absolutely adorable. But the jokes this time, you could see from a mile away. You almost knew the punchline before he even said it.
Right. Not necessarily his best material. And I don't know, what... I don't know how much good material he really has. I don't think he's writing all his own stuff. I'm not sure he's writing any of his own stuff. He does deliver it well for a 7-year-old.
For a 7-year-old, are you going to say it, Jay?
Right. So yeah, not a bad little act. I don't expect to see him going through. The judges love him. Howie said, "You're so adorable and so mean and adorably mean." Heidi said, "Look at you driving a convertible. You're going to fit right in at Hollywood." And Simon said, "Why is it that I love you insulting me?" So, nice. It wasn't. It was nice praise from the judges. Nothing that's like, you are going to win. They could have reminded us that we'll see how the votes turn out from our 50 super fans, but what are you supposed to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure if one of them said this or not. They talked about him being an insult comic. We may have talked a little bit about that last week. How long can this last? How much material can he have as he gets older? Does he lose the cuteness as he gets older? Does he continue doing insult comics? Or comedy. So one of the things, I did a little research, Jay.
Oh, yeah?
And I was curious, who are the best insult comics of all time?
My brain goes to Triumph, the insult comic dog
Okay.
from Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
Boy, yeah. If you think about those like classic celebrity roasts, I'm not sure who. That's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. I'm not sure who the greats are, but
Okay.
I'd imagine the short list includes a lot of those guys.
Yep. So I've actually got a list in front of me, and I'm not going to go through like all of them, but I'll go through. We'll spot check some of them.
Yeah, what do you have for notable names?
So let me just put out there. I went to Ranker. So the list I found is on Ranker. So these are actually ranked by people. You can go out and you can vote on where you vote on rankings yourself. So
Okay.
it's not a list of people like people came up with or time. This is voted on real people. So number one on this list, and it's number one by a mile, Don Rickles.
Okay. Yep. He's one of those classic celebrity roast guys. Yep.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Okay.
Bill Burr, Jeff Ross, Joan Rivers.
Oh, sure.
Yep. Greg Giraldo, Jimmy Carr, Groucho Marx is on this list. I'm not familiar with his insult comedy, but he might have been an insult comedian.
I suspect it was more of those celebrity roasts.
Yeah. Well, I think that was before celebrity but roast really became a thing. Weren't those more big in the
the 60s into the 70s? I don't know.
Okay. Patrice O'Neill, and then Triumph comes in at number 11 on this
Number
list.
11.
Yep.
Okay.
Daniel Tosh, Sam Kinison, Ricky Gervais, Bernie Mac's on here, but we're not getting into some of the lesser. I mean, they're still known, but I don't consider them as big as Rodney Dangerfield, Don Rickles, Joan Rivers. I feel those are like your cream of the crop insult comics.
Yeah. And it's not really a style of comedy that I go seeking out myself. It's not something that really gives me the chuckles hearing an insult comic. I prefer, I guess, the more family friendly kind of comedy. But there is a room for that, and I think a lot of those. What makes them so great is the self-deprecation. When they can point the fingers back at themselves too, and have a good laugh about it all. That's where they really shine.
Absolutely. And I think the Don Rickles and the not Ryan Dangerfield more, but Don Rickles and Joan Rivers, those were still family friendly. They were in a time where they were on TV, and it had in the I don't remember what it's called, but not the FCC. But would come down and say, here's the material that you can do on TV. So they were kind of family friendly, and they had a time. I don't know if that is still. I don't know if today is the time of the insult comic. I think that was bigger, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go, people. There's your insult comic history moment.
There you go. Hope you were. I hope that's what you were tuning in for. Fantastic. All right. So JJ Pantano, after that act tonight, I'm thinking, only half of these acts are going through. I'm not feeling particularly good for you, buddy.
No. Agreed.
But we'll see. We'll get there. So.
Yep.
All right. Second act of the night was our old friend Tyler Butler Figueroa. We've been around and around with Tyler Butler Figueroa. America loves him. The judges are captivated by him. He is not the best violin player on the season even, but here he is. Starts by playing What a Wonderful World, just him and piano on the stage and a cello. Then they add a singer in. It's a nice, pleasant song. This is really not his usual style. He slowed it down, kind of went for the more legato, more emotional style of song here. Simon, when the song was over, he popped right out of his seat and was giving him a standing ovation. What'd you think of Tyler Butler Figueroa tonight?
I applaud him for going with something different this time. typically we hear him playing fast songs. Sometimes we can't even understand what the song is. It's him just dancing around the stage. I did like that he slowed it down. He did something different. I'm not going to say it was better. It's just different.
Yep.
And I did like the singer on the stage, the cellist, the piano. Anytime you can bring additional instruments on a stage or a backup singer, anything of that nature, that's a few more bonus points for me.
We love to see the live instruments. Absolutely.
We love to see live instruments. We don't want backtracks or backtracks. We want more than just you on the stage. We want it to fill in a little bit more. So I enjoyed all of that. Having said that, I still felt not only was his tuning flat, but the song itself felt flat. It didn't feel like there was a whole lot there. I enjoyed listening to the singer more than I enjoyed listening to TBF.
Yeah, and that's one of the dangers, I suppose, of bringing other instruments on the stage with you is, especially if you're not positioning yourself to be the solo, the thing that people are looking at. Like, people always resonate with the human voice, and they're your eyes and ears are going to tune into that singer. But hey, it's actually here for the violinist, right? So yeah, that's interesting critique. Alicia said, so cool tonight to see the other side of you. Howie said, absolutely beautiful, emotional, captivating. Simon said, you're playing one of the most difficult instruments in the world to play well. But next time I'd have you just playing without anyone else on the stage with you. So maybe Simon was similarly distracted or just not impressed with the other instruments.
Yeah, last performance, didn't he have some dancers on the stage? I mean, he
did
have.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm not sure what it is that these judges love about him. I'm not getting it.
He's got just that really youthful, innocent face and just a mile-wide smile, and of course a story, right? A really moving story. Beaten cancer, and he's still just a pup. So, he's a young kid who plays very well, and he's got the whole package. It just doesn't quite reach that level of superb for me.
Yeah, I think he'll get there one day. I don't think he's there yet.
Yeah. No, he does have such a beautiful, big smile. He's a real easy kid to look at and to cheer for. So
yeah.
No surprise that he's getting cheered for. All right. Anything else on Tyler Butler Figueroa?
No, not yet.
Okay, and I guess we'll talk about Marc Spellman next then, the magician who also goes by X. He set a high bar last time. This time I think maybe he didn't quite clear that same bar. He did the same thing where he kind of surprised the judges by sneaking out behind them up on stage. Terry Crews joined him up on the stage because, what's a magician without having at least one of the judges join him, right? So he seats Terry down, puts a mask over him, blindfolds him. He says, I'm going to touch you on a spot, and he touches a doll on his shoulder, and Terry Crews says, hey, you touched my shoulder. So, wow. We've seen that one before. He says, Terry Crews, pick a time on a watch, and then Heidi, open that box, and what time does the watch say on it? It's 4:00. So that matched. And then Terry, where anywhere in this wide world would you like to be? He says, I'd like to be at home. And then a video popped up of I think X at Terry Crews's home with his wife. So I didn't feel like that quite landed the way that his last one did. It was a fine little act. These sort of the style of act I don't know is really my favorite. Heidi said, I loved the whole concept. Last time, the kicker was great, but that moment just wasn't there for me. Alicia said, you're consistently brilliant. Simon said, I don't think this was a progression from your last performance. What say you?
Well, okay, so Marc Spellman, or X, set the bar so high in his first performance with Shin Lim coming out. and the whole secret and the mystery, and it seemed like his whole act just kind of flowed together. He went from one thing to another, and it felt very cohesive. This time he felt like it's just doing 3 separate acts, none of them really tied together. There was no wow factor. I felt he really took a step way back. I also don't feel that he doesn't need X anymore. I think he did X when he went back on Britain's Got Talent, and that really made a big impact on the judges when he revealed himself in the final. But I don't think he needs this. If he's going to do X, do X. Don't do Marc Spellman as X. Do either Marc Spellman or X. It doesn't make sense to have both. There's no mystery. There's no mystery there.
We haven't been along on that ride of learning that X is Marc Spellman. So the whole shtick just sort of falls apart to our point of view. Right.
So this act did not feel as good. I mean, nearly as good as his first one. The first one was just so good, and this one just completely fell apart. There was no cohesion. The tricks were very flat. It was not good at all.
I don't know, not good at all, but certainly not his best.
Well, it wasn't fun to watch. It was very boring. The tricks may have been fine, but it was still our expectation was so high for him that it really felt flat.
Yeah. And I'm agreeing. After 3 acts on the night, I'm not feeling like any of these are really the finals worthy kind of acts that we're expecting to see.
Yeah, we expected a lot out of Marc Spellman. We knew what we were getting out of Tyler Butler Figueroa, JJ Pantano. We kind of knew what we were getting. We didn't know in the first performance that he was a comedian. It led up where we were led to believe he was going to be a singer. We didn't know that he was going to continue to do insult comedy. But we were really excited about this because of what we got in the first performance.
Yeah. And this just, like you said, it wasn't there. So
no, it was not there.
All right, I'm ready to move on to act number 4 on the night. It is a little act known as Duo Destiny.
Yes, it's Duo Destiny. Yes.
Our first of the 2 duos.
Yes.
Duo Destiny, Duo Transcend. So this is Duo Destiny.
Yes.
I wrote down some sort of notable moves that they did. He lays on his back. She stands with a foot on either side of his head. He reaches his hands up to her knees, and then she leans forward, further down past his head, to nearly touch her nose to the ground. And then he, with his amazing strength, raises her back to standing, by pushing from her knees, right? So that was pretty cool. That was a pretty slick move. Really showed off his strength well. They did the thing where she's lying down, he swings her up from laying down to like a handstand in the air, up on his hands. That's a cool move. She gets raised up on a rope swing, like a loop of rope, and then she actually picks him up, so we get to see a little bit of her strength. Another handstand on his hands up above his head, but then they do it on just one of his hands, so that's pretty cool. And then he dropped her from the one hand and catches her, again, just inches from the ground. They're fun to watch. They're athletic, they're strong, they're beautiful. What do you think? What were your thoughts on Duo Destiny?
Yeah, it's interesting that you're doing that, because even at the beginning, Howie talked about, are they as good as Duo Transcend? So it's interesting. We got both of them in the same show. We'll get to the results a little bit later, which it gets a little more interesting. Right. They pretty much do the exact same act. So Howie was saying, are they as good? How are we going to be able to pick between them and duo transcend.
Right.
My favorite part of their performance was when she was up on the, I guess, either trapeze or rope or whatever it is, and then she was holding him.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice twist. We haven't seen duo transcend do that, so it was really nice to see them do that. I liked the song that they picked, "Never Tear Us Apart." I thought it was a great song choice for the two of them. I really enjoyed this. I thought things were finally picking up after watching them.
Yeah, I thought they were very good. Heidi said, "You have to be one of the 6 chosen acts today. It's insane." Howie said, "I think you delivered in your first performance. I don't think this is that different." Alicia said, "I don't agree with Howie. There were new moves, and what you're doing is outstanding." Simon said, "I felt it was something you hadn't done before. Everything about it was brilliant." So pretty high praise from the judges. It's nice to see, like you said, nice to see her do some of the strength stuff, lifting him. And they do some really cool stuff. And seemingly dangerous stuff too. The way that he drops her to the ground, it's fun to watch. I like this act a lot.
I do too, and it's great. If it were duo transcend and duo destiny, and they didn't tell us which one was which, I may not be able to tell the difference. I mean, I would probably recognize that duo transcend has, she has red hair, and I recognize the guy. But as far as the acts, the tricks that they do, I think they're very, very similar performances.
It seems like it could be interchangeable.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm not sure what Howie was watching, because I did think this was better than what we saw them do in the first round.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things to an untrained eye, or to somebody who's just not as interested in acrobatics. Every acrobat's the same.
Well, Howie's done this for a really long time. He should have a trained eye. He should have seen lots of. He has seen lots of acrobatics. He has seen duo transcend many times. He should really. It surprised me that he said that they didn't deliver. That this wasn't as good as the first time.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. I'm not sure that I agree with him, but maybe it gives him an out to say, of the two, there's one that I liked better.
And that's fine. And that's fine. You can say that, but you could also say, this was better, and then still say the other one, the other performance, the other performing duet is better than this. Both of them can do better than what they did, and one of them still do better than the other one.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All righty. Well, you ready to talk about Hans?
I actually, Jay, I actually am ready to talk about Hans.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a lot more gusto than I expected to hear from you.
Yeah. So let's get into Hans.
You tell me about Hans. You take it.
Okay. So this was the first time. I mean, they've been doing this the entire show, but this is when I really noticed it. That in their intro package, they're recapping their previous times on AGT. We're not getting their story anymore. How they're if they've had any diseases or difficulties in life, whatever it may be. We're now getting, okay, here's what we've gone through on our times on either AGT or Britain's Got Talent or whatever show we were on. Here's what we've done, and here's kind of what we're trying to do to improve. And I really got that more from Hans.
Okay.
He's talking about his first round in this show, where fans weren't happy that he moved on to the next round, and
right.
He threw some tweets up on the screen that I hope his wife and mother are proud of him or whatever it is, something like that. So he's now saying, hey, I deserve to be here. I'm good enough. They're telling me I'm good enough. I'm back. This is redemption for me. I'm trying to prove Simon wrong, because Simon was one of those that said, I'm not sure if this is good enough. And I'll say myself, when he was on the last time, I didn't think it was good enough, but I actually enjoyed this performance where he comes out and he sings, or he starts out with a vote for Hans. He's at a podium,
he's standing behind a podium
with a microphone, doing a vote for Hans, showing the tweets from the viewers. He starts out singing Danke Schoen and then kind of throws that to the side and starts singing Bang Bang. he does the splits between two chairs.
Yes.
We're seeing like signs that say hashtag Hans 2020. So I'm actually enjoying this, Jay.
Wow. And I gotta say, like, he did a good job of kind of twisting or, making us realize, like, he can be a sympathetic character, right? Like,
Yes.
He's this larger than life, like, he doesn't seem like a real person, but, there is a human there.
Yes, absolutely.
And, mean tweets are kind of a fun shtick, right? Like, hey, I see you, I hear you. This is, something that you're putting out in the world. I'm going to repeat it, and you may or may not like that I'm repeating it out loud.
Yeah. But you've now put it out in the space, and now that it's out in the space, I get a chance to react to it.
Yeah. So Donkey Shane, the other song that he did, the splits with the chairs sliding apart, like, that scares me. That scares me as much as anything, right?
Yes,
like,
yeah.
And streamers and pink balloons and just this glittery, larger than life thing that he is. That's that happened. So
yeah, and I think last time you and I talked that is this an entertainment? Is Champions an entertainment show, or is it a competition show? And I kind of had an epiphany while watching him and thinking, okay, am I going to start voting for these people based on how much am I entertained? They've gone through the initial Got Talent. They've gone through all the auditions. They've gone through judge cuts, quarterfinals, semifinals. Some have gotten to finals. Some won, some didn't. And now they're on this show. And if they're on this show, and you mentioned this last time, and we went back and forth on it of, are they competing? And I may have had kind of a little bit of a turn thinking, okay, they're competing, but am I now choosing based on how entertained I am? We know they have the talent. They have proven they have the talent, but now can they entertain me? And this time he entertained me.
Okay. Yeah.
I had an epiphany, Jay.
That's my boy's growing up. No, that's great. And I think the trouble is at different times, like in different moments, I want different things. I think that, from different acts, I want different things. Sometimes I do want to be entertained. Sometimes I want to be moved. Sometimes I want to be, awed by your talent, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When the silhouettes are on stage, I want the feels. When Hans is on stage, I want to be entertained.
Yeah. And it really is hard to compare apples and oranges, right?
Right. Yes.
And for what Hans is, for what he does, man, he's actually pretty good at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's an international superstar, as he keeps telling us.
Right. Howie said, this is so much bigger than the show. Twitter plus reality show plus hats. You know what can happen. And Hans said, it's time to make America glitter again.
I actually like that line. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And, sort of the allusion to the way that Donald Trump works, right? He's a Twitterer. He had his reality show. He's known for his MAGA hats. It's time to make America glitter again. So Heidi said, I love you so much. I hope you get to the final. You are so great, so creative. I love you more than anything. Alicia said, of all the acts tonight, which isn't a terribly high bar.
We'll get to bars. We'll have bars later. Yeah.
Of all the acts tonight, your presentation was by far the best. And Simon said, look, I shouldn't have loved that, but I did love it. So the judges are on board with Hans. And I have to agree with you. I was kind of entertained.
Yeah.
He did okay. Yeah.
Now I'll be honest. If Hans came to my area, he was within maybe an hour of where I live, and he's putting on a show, I'm not sure I would go see it. I'm not sure it's something I would go see in person. But watching him on TV, and I don't want a whole lot of Hans. I think Hans once a year is probably enough Hans for me. When I say once a year, one time a show, not once or one show a year.
Yeah,
I think that's enough Hans for me.
Sure.
Yeah. And I got entertained. So,
yeah, and I remember talking with you about Tape Face, and like he's sort of this different thing that is really hard to put your finger on. Like, Tape Face, the things that he does aren't particularly difficult, but they're fun to watch. They're entertaining, So, apples and oranges, and golly, he's a heck of a pink fruit, whatever that is. So
yeah, and with this show, we've got apples and oranges and bananas and grapefruit and celery. I mean, we've got it all.
We've got it all. We've got it all. So yeah, that's Hans. Yeah. I think we've said what we need to say. You ready to talk about Danya Diaz?
Yes, let's talk about Danya Diaz.
All right, she is the female magician. She's going to be right up at the judges' table. She has her deck of cards. She asks Howie before they start to take a selfie of her and the other judges. And I was watching for this, but I saw her hold an ace of hearts up in the picture.
You caught it before I did.
I did. And
okay.
It was like, this is kind of a silly thing for you to be doing. I bet there's something, we're going to be seeing that picture, right? So I watched for it, but she ripped out the middle of a card and another card, made them locked together like a chain. She had Alicia pick a card, and it was the Ace of Hearts, and makes the deck flips around and yada yada, like sleight of hand magicians do. Shows the Ace of Hearts, and that was the one that was in the selfie picture. So I'm sure I missed some of the nuances in there, but what did you think of Danya Diaz tonight?
So I like the way that she tells stories during her card tricks. I think that's a lot better than maybe what like a Shin Lim does, where he just stands up there, does a bunch of tricks. She tells a story. There's a flow to it. It keeps me engaged. I like that she was right down in front of the judges. She wasn't up on the stage, separated. She was doing her close-up magic right there in front of the stage. Now, I don't think that this particular performance was as good as her first time that we saw her. I thought the story, with the way she did the cards the first time, felt more fluid. The cards that she showed actually made sense. If she's talking about her dad, she showed the king. If she was talking about her mom, she showed the queen. Those types of things. It was all related. This time it was kind of related, where she was talking about things being engaged and locked together, and the cards would be locked together, but I didn't feel like it was as fluid or flowed as well as the first time around. And then the reveal at the end, it felt all right. It didn't feel great. I think we've seen stuff like that before. And when she finished, I did go back and back to the beginning where she did the selfie, and the card was in the picture. But I didn't feel this wow that I felt. She is good. I really enjoy watching her. I just felt this time didn't match up with what she did the first time.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because it is so. She's good. Her technical abilities with manipulating the cards the way that she does is very spot on. Her script this time, I think, maybe wasn't as good as last time. So. Fun to watch. Simon said, I saw your hands shaking, which says to me, it was magic. Alicia said, you could hear a pin drop. We were all so dialed into you. Howie said, that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I think reacting maybe a little bit more to the feels, to the story, than to the actual magic. But, pretty good praise from the judges. Yeah, to Simon's comment, I saw your hands shaking. Like it felt like there were some nerves there tonight, which is surprising, given that this is her second performance on Champions.
I mean, it's her second performance, yes, but it's also America's Got Talent, which is a little bit bigger than when she won on Spain's Got Talent. So the audience is probably bigger. The TV audience is much bigger. The stakes are much higher, so I can understand her nervousness. She may not have I don't know if she's ever performed in front of an audience this big. You have Simon Cowell there and Heidi.
She's a magician. She knows how to perform. She performs all the time, right?
She does, but it's also the magnitude of it. And even if you perform all the time, when you get in front of a larger crowd or the stakes are higher, I can understand the nerves being there. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I guess all that to say, I don't want to give her a pass on that because this is a large stage. Like it's
right.
You need to be champion level if you're going to be on the champions. So
yeah, I'm not giving her a pass, but I get it. I understand it.
Sure. So. All right. Okay, ready for act number 7, Duo Transcend?
Yes.
All right, Duo Transcend this time. They recognize in their video package, hey, we're competing against Duo Destiny and Sandow Trio Russian Bar. So
and I like that. I like that they recognize that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So they start up on the trapeze, and it's kind of the Greatest Showman set, and they start playing the Greatest Showman. There's hand balancers on the side. There's fire breathers. I know you love that. There's some contortionists. Like they're kind of bringing the whole circus right to the stage.
They brought the movie to the stage.
Right. And they're putting themselves right in the center ring of the circus. So I thought the show was fantastic. I was impressed by but not distracted by the other things that they had going on around them. It was fun to see all of that along with what they do. So their trapeze, I felt like it was pretty standard, flipping, spinning kind of stuff that they do on the trapeze. But then after he drops her from the trapeze with a little bit of a flourish, they put on their roller skates and they do the Billy and Emily England spinning on roller skates act.
Yeah, I actually wrote down in my notes the Who's It and Emily act. I couldn't remember his name, but I knew her name.
Right. So, and they, right down to putting the apparatus around their necks so they're hands free, spinning in a circle while she, so he's got this thing around his neck. She's in front of him with the thing sort of around the back of her neck, and she's spinning on a horizontal axis while he's spinning on his horizontal axis. So wow, I can't even explain it, but it was fun to watch, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. They were blindfolded. Now it wasn't, that part wasn't as good as when Emily grabbed Billy's beard,
right? Yes,
and pulled some of his beard out. But it's still dangerous, still exciting. Yes, they brought the whole Greatest Showman act. I'm surprised we didn't see what's his name, Wolverine, on the stage.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see Hugh Jackman up on the stage. That was Hugh Jackman singing, right? Because that's the song from The Greatest Showman. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yep.
So they went all out on the Greatest Showman. They got everything they could on the stage, which give it to them. They had. They got to be on the movie. They're actually in the movie.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get that opportunities to bring in all those performers for their act. Now does that help them against Duo Destiny? Yeah, maybe not. But it was still very, very exciting to see. Then we get down to the Billy and Emily, or what I wrote down, the Who's It and Emily performance. They go blindfolded. This was fun. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. You got the Greatest Showman song. You got fire. You've got hand balancers. You got stilt walkers all over the place. So a lot of fun. A lot of fun there.
Right. So one critique that I'm sure some people have, I'm, maybe a little less of a critique from me, but boy, we see people do the Greatest Showman themed act pretty regularly.
Yes.
And I'm a little nervous that it's going to be overdone, or it has been overdone. And to be honest, you said oh yeah, they were on The Greatest Showman. I do remember Sandow Trio Russian Bar was definitely on it, but I don't know if if Duo Transcend was.
Oh, you're right. I had that mixed up. You are right, Jay. My fault.
But
Yep.
they would have fit right in.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't question just agreeing with you right off the bat. So, but yeah, fun to watch. Fantastic. Just a large. We're bringing the circus, baby, kind of act. And they brought it, and it was fun to watch, and it was loud, and it was big. Howie said that duo just transcended making a circus act into a whole blown stage show. Man, not your best, Howie.
No.
Alicia said, I feel like I'm actually in the greatest show on earth. Heidi said, combination aerial, and then down there on the roller skates, it was perfection. Simon said, it was everything and more than I could have hoped for. Yeah, fun. I'm expecting between Duo Transcend and Duo Destiny, who didn't do a whole lot more than just the aerials and the hand balancing like they've done in the past. I'm giving the slight edge to Duo Transcend. What say you?
Yeah, I agree, and I
Yeah.
think it's the Greatest Showman that's going to give them that edge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that if they didn't have the rest of the circus, if it would have been enough. It was I still love them. I think they're fantastic. I think the Greatest Showman's going to push them over the edge.
Yeah. I think I'd agree. All right.
One thing we did skip over though is Simon got the coughs.
Yeah.
They had to put the show on. They had to put the show on hold.
I didn't take any notes on that.
Okay, well, at the beginning, right before they got ready to start, all of a sudden Simon got choked up. Apparently, he swallowed something and got all choked, and
Yeah.
it was weird that production put this in, but it was like
It was
okay,
kind of.
we need to hold and then let Simon clear his throat, and then you heard the producer count down again. I thought it was really weird for them to throw that in there. Now, if it was live, it'd make perfect sense. But
Oh yeah.
this has been taped for months, and
Right.
for them to put that in the edit, that seemed weird. I liked it, but it still seemed weird.
Yeah. Does it add something? Does it make them seem more relatable or more? Make the show seem more realistic, or I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know that it added anything to it, and you're looking up at Duo Transcend, and they're just kind of dangling there, waiting. So I'm not. I don't get it. I liked it, but I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Act 8 of the night. We got Strauss Serpent. This is our Africa's Got Talent winner. He's a contortionist dancer. He starts in a box. He does the twisting around. He does the crazy arm stuff. The thing, he grabs his hands behind his back, and he's leaning forward, and then he bends his elbows in past each other. So it's like two diamond shapes, the way that his arms and hands and wrists bend. It's so weird and amazing and
Yes.
uncomfortable. He moved he slowed everything down for a moment, and he moved really fluidly. That was kind of fun to see, instead of just the jerky, ripping things around kind of stuff. He sat on his butt facing away from the audience, and then he twisted his torso so that he was facing the audience. Then he put his arms under his knees, but it was the wrong arm under the wrong knee kind of thing. It's so weird. It's so weird. He got up, he grabbed a bucket, and then he climbed into it in the weirdest possible way. I wrote crotch first. With his torso twisted so he's facing out of the bucket to the right, and then his bottom half, his legs were pointing out to the left, but his knees were touching his shoulders. This is just impossible to explain. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I think you do a fantastic job at explaining this stuff, Jay. It's second to none. Yeah, I like that he starts off in the box and then ends in that bucket. I thought the box thing was really impressive until we get to the end and Heidi then crawls in the box, and I'm like, okay, well that's not that impressive then.
Well, I guess not.
No, but what this guy does is really impressive. It's very, very unique. Now, I think last time we talked about the sounds.
Yes.
that his joints make, and I said that those were really the sounds, and you were saying production put those in. Do I have that right?
That's what I recall. Yes.
Okay, so I actually watched this time with my headphones on.
Okay.
To get a better sound, and I was listening for those sounds, and the sounds, they sound very made up. I'll say that.
Okay.
They sound like production is throwing those in. They do not sound like realistic joint sounds. They sound every time he does something, it sounds the same. It doesn't sound like it's different joints popping different ways.
Okay.
So yes, I'm on board now with you that production is throwing the sounds in there to make it sound worse than it might be. But again, that's the entertainment part. Sometimes we throw in some sound effects to improve the production of things. So
right.
It's worked because it's you can barely hear it. If you're just watching it on TV, you can barely hear it. Which makes it sound like it's very realistic. So
yeah, and
I'm on board with you, Jay.
It was much quieter on this performance than it was on his first one.
Okay.
Those joint sounds. But again, for the entertainment value, put in those sounds. I'm. That's fine by me to enhance the quality of the production by having some sound effects. That's just fine. The things he does are still just mind-bogglingly weird and impossible. And the next time I see somebody climb into a bucket crotch first, I'll say, "Oh, I've seen that before." So
yeah.
Yeah. Alicia said everything about it was brilliant. Heidi, one of my favorite acts. You are the only one who can do what you do. Hypnotic. Simon said, the first time you had the wow factor. The second time, I didn't get that wow factor, which boo on you, Simon. I disagree.
Yeah. I think I got it more the first time than this time.
Howie said, people love a good unboxing video. This is the best unboxing video people will watch. So, okay. There you go. That's Strauss Serpent. I love him. I'm totally expecting he'll go through after that.
Okay. We'll see.
Ninth act of the night, Rhynie Miller. You want to tell us about Rhynie Miller?
Yeah, so Rhynie Miller is one of my favorite comics that's been on the show. He's top 3 or 4 favorite comics that's been on AGT. He's got a birth defect with his arms, where his arms are a little shorter than normal, and he doesn't have all 10 fingers on his hands. But that's what his comedy is built on. That's what he tells his jokes about is his disability.
Right.
And I think he's fantastic. He's hilarious. He's got new content every time he comes out there. He started off talking about his tour schedule. Well, he basically says he doesn't sleep in his car anymore, but he's also not sleeping because he's always on the road.
Right.
So I actually went out and looked at his tour schedule because I've noticed this about the comedians. I saw it with Preacher and a couple other comedians that I follow is these guys are all over the country. So Ryan's tour schedule, I'm not going to get into the details, but basically he's got a couple of acts up in Canada. Then he goes to Florida.
Oh my gosh.
Like he does a couple of days in Canada in Alberta. Then he goes to Florida 2 days after that. And then he spends a bunch of time in Florida. Then he goes to Utah. And then where else does he go? Massachusetts and Indiana. So he's like going from Florida to Indiana to Utah to Massachusetts. So yeah, he's all over the place. Preacher does things very similarly, where they're just jumping all over the country. So it's not surprising that these guys are not sleeping, but that's the life of a comedian.
Yeah. And I think if you're a comedian, you have a name for yourself. You get while the getting's good. And absolutely ride this wave. And if people are booking you, you take those jobs wherever you can get them. So,
yep. I love that he came out with dancers this time, and he even made a comment about it. Like he came down from the back of the auditorium
Yep.
Came down the aisle with some dancers. Did you happen to know what was going on the screen?
No, I didn't take that joke down. What happened there?
So there really wasn't a joke, but well, I guess it could be a joke. But he had Pac-Man on the screen, but instead of Pac-Man, it was his face. So his face was playing Pac-Man.
Right, his face was eating the dots.
Yep. He told some jokes about his dad giving him gloves for Christmas or birthday.
All right.
But
It
then,
says there's no winter here in
Yes.
L.A., but when I grew up, winter was real, and my dad would buy me gloves. So right, he
I can't wear gloves.
wasn't quite thinking all the way through that one.
Yeah.
So his mom would step up, and she'd put tube socks over his nubbins, which he said was a great idea until the first time that they touched snow.
Yeah. Now, did your mom ever do that?
No, but I can go on record saying I am not a fan of wet socks.
Well, my mom did do that when I was a kid. So when I was young, we lived in Texas where we didn't get a whole lot of snow, so we didn't have gloves. But when it did snow, she would put tube socks on her hands. And yes, I vividly remember playing in the snow with tube socks and be like, this is worthless. Because now my hands are cold and wet. So
yeah. Right. Maybe not a great idea. So the other joke that I took down kind of from the beginning of Zach, he said, I was going to shave for you guys, but I didn't have 4 hours and a spare pint of blood that I could lose. So This is what you get.
Yeah.
So he's, doing well for himself, but apparently not enough to hire a stylist yet. So
right. Yep. I love Rhynie Miller. Again, he's one of my favorites. I didn't think this set was as good as what he's done before. I think I laughed at the very end. The glove joke I laughed at.
Yeah.
And then another punchline that he said was, did you get those tube socks from underneath my bed? So, I laughed at that one. But some of the other jokes just didn't really hit. It felt like it was kind of a down set for him, which it happens with comedians. They're not all going to be home runs.
Right.
And just so happened this time it wasn't a home run.
Yeah. Heidi said, I thought you were funnier last time. Simon said, I didn't feel it didn't feel as fresh as last time. It felt like a set that you'd done before. Like it was just sort of by rote,
Yeah.
Howie said, tonight's material is great and you are great. Alicia said, there is something about you I love. So, higher praise from Howie and Alicia, but Heidi and Simon are kind of giving the same, like, it's good, but not, maybe not your best.
Yeah, it was not his best. I still enjoy him. One other comment I think Heidi made was he was pretty funny last night. So was he was on the week 4, right? I'm trying to remember.
That sounds right.
So they did week 4, and then the next day they did semifinals 1. Sounds like.
Yeah, and I don't remember the shooting schedule, the filming schedule, but they packed these all right in there, I'm sure.
Yep. So anyway, I didn't feel like it was best, but I still enjoy him.
Yeah, he's great.
Yep.
He's great. I consistently laugh at what he brings. So.
Yep.
All right, 10th act of the night. Alexa Lauenburger. This is is she 11-year-old dog trainer, dog act. Instead of dogs jumping through a hoop this time, they were jumping through a cylinder.
Yeah.
And then one of the dogs jumped through and stayed inside while she
fantastic.
flipped it vertically. That was fun to see. Yep.
Yeah, that's good upper body strength from the dog.
Yeah, and again, if you're going to bring a dog act, like have them do something that I haven't seen before, because that's, I've seen a lot of dog tricks, and and that was a good one. That was a good one. So, dogs spinning and dancing and doing backflips. She had one of the dogs navigating around the hurdles on just his back legs, hop, 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 hop. And then he was jumping over the hurdles, again, just on the back legs, not using those front legs at all. So pretty cool to see. More same trick as last time. Two of the dogs make the A-frame with their front paws up on the shoulders, and dogs jumping over them, and some of the same stuff, but good to see some really really good things that I'd never seen before. What'd you think of Alexa this time?
I know last time I said I wasn't high on her. I was really high on her this time.
Really?
I enjoyed this. I liked the theme that she did. It was a haunted mansion theme. She had it wasn't the real Mystery Machine, but kind of a Mystery Machine looking van. It looked very similar to the Mystery Machine in there. The song they performed, and I don't know the actual name of it, but it's the Shake Shake Sonora song.
Yeah.
Which I think is famous from like Beetlejuice. So it's a similar theme, that haunted type theme. And then the dogs themselves this time were just a lot of fun to watch. The one that went into the tube and stayed there when she turned it vertically, that was great. The one that was going around the hurdles, I think that may have been a mistake. It seemed like I think she was trying to tell him to do something, and he almost looked at her like, or her, either one, I don't know what it is. the dog was looking at her like, I don't know what you want me to do, because it went around the hurdles, then it kind of went and stood next to her, and then it went over and then jumped over the hurdles, but it looked like it was confused about what to do, and it was still was good, but it looked like it wasn't planned.
Yeah, and it may have been a step short of perfection. It's still very, very good. And, if it takes you 2 tries to make a dog do something I've never seen before, then so be it. But, I enjoyed her. We've had a dog act win America's Got Talent. So, there's something there.
Don't get me started, Jay.
There's something there that people love. And, we just might see her go through. So,
okay.
All right, 11th act. We got a couple more here. Sandow Trio Russian Bar. In their video package, they recognize Duo Destiny and Duo Transcend as their direct competition. And wouldn't you know it, they're going to bring that fire on stage. What are you thinking?
Yes. Oh, I'm thinking this is fantastic. So they bring the fire. You have the Phoenix up on the screen. And then I started thinking, if it's Rise of the Phoenix, they're being reborn. Is this the greatest redemption story in AGT history?
Oh boy, yeah.
That's because they go back to it. They blew it in quarterfinals. They just completely went off the rails. Did something that they don't normally do. They get eliminated. They come back. They get put through to the semifinals, and then they do this. They only did 3 flips, Jay.
Right.
Did you count them? 3 flips.
Yeah.
But every flip involved fire.
Yes. So the first backflip they did was not in slow motion, so that was cool. She did a double backflip, not in slow motion this time, and then she grabbed fire on 2 sticks, and she did a flip holding the fire. And then, so I counted 4 flips. The last one,
okay.
They light the bar itself on fire.
Yes.
And she does another flip in slow motion again. They're great. They're fun to watch. And I sympathize with, like, hey, we're sort of a one-trick pony. Like, we do this trick really, 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 really well, and it's super dangerous. But, like, it is sort of their one thing, right?
Yes. No, I agree with that. But you can mix it up like she did. They introduced fire, but if you watch it, it's a very, very difficult thing. And they commented on that during the interview at the end, is that there's only a few people that do this.
Yes.
This is not a well-known trick that a lot of people do. Only a small handful do this.
Right. Yeah. And they're fun and fantastic. Alicia said you upped your game. That was a spectacle. Heidi said you're incredible. You have to be one of the 6. Simon said you have this really cool attitude. The whole presentation was absolutely amazing. Howie said you literally raised the bar and lit it on fire.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the Howie comment of the night. I like that one. So, I loved them. I'm expecting them to go through based on that performance, based on the judges' comments. I want to see them again.
Yeah, it would be, if we could rewrite history, it would be interesting to see what they could have done when they were on the first time if they hadn't gone completely different. Like if they hadn't done the hang upside down piano trick and they just done their Russian bar trick, how far could they have gone?
Yep.
But I'm excited about this because this is a great redemption story.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I can't think of anything else that's similar to this as far as being a redemption story.
Yeah. Sethward isn't there. He's
well, yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay. Just wait. AGT Champions 3.
2020. Here we go. All right. Marcelino Pomoy is our last act of the night. This is the Philippines Got Talent winner. He does the Adeline Bates, sings both the male and the female version of a duet. He sings it at the same time. It's so fun to watch. He's so good at it. It makes me smile the whole time through. Tonight he's going to do Time to Say Goodbye. This is a song that we did in high school. This is one that I kind of had in the back of my mind as like, oh, that'd be a fun. I wonder if he could pull that one off. When we sang it in high school, we did not do this good.
How many people did you have singing the various parts?
I don't know, 25. And I only sang the bass baritone part, so yeah. He's so good. He flips between the female and the male voices so effortlessly. It takes some real cojones to sing Andrea Bocelli like on the stage, and he rocks it. He takes that last note and he takes it up so high. I love Marcelino Pomoy. I love this act. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to give an unpopular opinion here. No, he's got a great talent. It's a unique talent. Adeline Bates is the only other one we've seen do it, and he definitely does it better than she does. I'm not sure. I was actually kind of tuned out a little bit during this portion of the show. Yes, it was close to the end. We'd seen, we had seen the duos, and we'd seen Russian Bar and Rhynie Miller. We've just seen so much variety up to this point, and I was actually thinking, have we not had a singer? And I completely forgot that Marcelino was even on this episode. Because I was thinking, are we going to have a finals with no singer? I mean, I couldn't remember if we had any singers going into the finals. So I get to this point, and I was just a little tuned out. I do recognize his talent. I think it's a great talent. Simon mentioned that he needs to take a bigger risk. I kind of agree with that. I felt that this song wasn't that big of a risk. It's great to have the soprano and the bass part in there, or for real sing both parts. But I need a song that's a little more exciting.
Oh, it highlights what he does perfectly. Okay. And like we talked about, right? If you're gonna write a song to highlight what you do, you do that. It doesn't have to be the most impressive song if it is what you do most impressively.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was a great song choice, but I also have that history with it. I once performed the song, so maybe there's that nostalgia that comes creeping back. But
yeah, and we talked about earlier about Hans of are we watching this to be entertained or are we watching it for the talent? And I had commented that we already know about the talent. Now I need to be entertained, and I don't feel that I was. We'd been entertained the last 4 or 5 acts, and I got to this point, and I didn't feel entertained. I recognize the talent, Jay. I recognize the talent. The talent's there. He's very, 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 very good. I was not entertained this time.
I was thoroughly entertained.
Okay,
I smiled the whole way through it.
Good, and I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad you were. It's a song that you recognize and that you're very familiar with, and like you said, you had the nostalgia. There's other stuff I've had nostalgia with as well that I've enjoyed. So I'm glad that you did enjoy this.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yep.
Howie said, I believe you have the best shot of winning this whole thing. Alicia said, brilliant song choice. Heidi said, I've been waiting all day for you. You are my favorite. Simon said, you have a very unique, incredible, special talent. I think you have to take a bigger risk, like you said. So, man, 3 judges, very, very high. Simon is going to poo-poo on it. So that's the 12 acts. 6 of them are going to go through here. Do you want to give your picks, or should we kind of jump to results?
I had a few that I was like, well, those aren't going to go through. I felt JJ Pantano may not go through.
Mm-hmm.
I felt there was like 2 or 3. Who's the other ones? I guess, at the beginning, I didn't feel like the first 3. But Tyler Butler Figueroa, just for some reason, has this spell over everybody.
Yes, he does.
Which I don't get, and that's just my own personal thing. I don't get it. Maybe one day I will recognize his talent. Maybe it'll just come to me. I'll be like, oh man, yeah, I remember him. Like that was fantastic. But as of now, it's not entertaining me. So I think it was the first 3 that I felt were not there. But I thought the rest of them had a chance. So the other 9, I thought had a chance.
All right, okay, I could go with that. I kind of put a mark next to my 6th favorite, as our 3 danger acts, the duos and Sandow Trio Russian Bar. I was like, yeah, those are all plus for me. Marcelino, I've got him going through. I thought Strauss Serpent was thoroughly entertaining. He is a real unique talent. And then I had one last, who else would I put through? And I marked Hans.
Okay, I was actually on board with that this week.
I was kind of entertained. He's pretty good. So, all right, half of the acts are going through. We've got Hans and Strauss Serpent as our first head-to-head, and I was really, really hoping for one of those. You're both going through. And then I thought, okay, if it's just one of them, Strauss Serpent. It's got to be Strauss Serpent, and it wasn't. It was Hans.
Yeah, I actually wrote down toss-up. It could have been either one of them.
It could have been either one of them.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that Strauss Serpent was eliminated, because he is such a special talent.
Yeah, it's so unique.
But hey, another chance to see Hans. Let's see if he can step it up again.
But those super fans, they're not getting those joint sounds that we're getting.
That might be part of the track that he performs to. And I would hope maybe that he does, think far enough ahead to insert those himself instead of doing it post-production.
Okay.
But yeah. All right. Second result of the night. It's JJ Pantano, our 7-year-old comedian, and Tyler Butler Figueroa, our young violin player. And now I'm hoping for just the opposite. I'm sorry, it's neither of you.
Oh, yeah.
But instead we get Tyler Butler Figueroa.
Yeah, I wrote toss up on this, but on the other end, I didn't think either of them were that good. But of course, he's all. I keep calling him TBF because I don't want to say the whole name. It's just too long. And I figured people were going to go with him, with TBF.
Yep.
So.
Okay, next result, we've got Danya Diaz and Marcelino Pomoy. Based on the performances tonight, based on just my feelings, I was thinking Marcelino for sure. You?
Yeah, again, this was another one I just wasn't sure about. I mean, these pairings were very interesting because
they did a good job.
Yeah, they did a real good job on these pairings because I couldn't decide once they put them together. I was like, I don't know at this point. I think that I would have personally gone with the Magician. I think Marcelino is fantastic talent, but as far as being entertained, I think Danya brings more entertainment for me with the Magician, with the magic, and I think she would need to improve it for the finals. She didn't bring it this time, so that's where I was going. But
yep.
I'm okay with either one of them.
Okay, well, it was Marcelino this time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's that. Next, head-to-head, we've got Alexa Lauenberger and Marc Spellman, also known as X. This one goes to... Did you have a guess or a thought on that one?
I was hoping it would be Alexa. this time because I thought she was better than Marc Spellman.
Even though you've kind of got don't really care for the dog axe.
No, I didn't care for the dog axe. I don't want dog axe to win. Well, okay. So let me just set the record straight here.
We're splitting hairs.
Yeah, that particular year, I thought there were 3 better acts than Olate dogs.
Okay.
That's all. I didn't have anything against Olate dogs; they were fine. I just thought there were 3 acts that were much better than they were. But
okay, all right.
I don't have anything against dog acts. I love dogs. I've had dogs my entire life. I love them. And I think it's fantastic these people can train them to do these particular acts. And tonight, I thought Alexa did much better than Marc Spellman.
Okay. Well, the super fans agreed. Alexa is better than Marc Spellman. She's going through to finals. And our last result before the judges have to make their decision, it's Sandow Trio Russian Bar and Rhynie Miller. What were you thinking was going to happen here?
Yeah, I hated seeing this.
I know.
I hated seeing this, but I was kind of figuring what was happening here. And because Sandow Trio, I mean, they were fantastic. They were on it that tonight. Rhynie Miller didn't quite have it, but I didn't want to see him eliminated. I want to see him come back. So I was I wasn't sure what to expect. I could have gone with either one, but because I didn't want either one of them to go home.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a toss-up. Based on their performances on this episode, I thought Sandow Trio Russian Bar should go through, and they did. So
yeah, based solely on this one, they were the more exciting one, more entertaining one. Yes.
Yep. And I'm looking forward to seeing them again at finals here. So
yeah.
Finally, then we are left with Duo Transcend and Duo Destiny.
Yeah.
So Duo Transcend, they were the ones that did the Greatest Showman act with the rollerblade spinners. You and I agree that they were the better of the two tonight. Duo Destiny is a little bit more strength focused, I think. More like handstands up on his hands, and she was doing some moves, holding him from the trapeze. So both fantastic acts. It came down to the judges to decide which one's going to go through. Simon, then Heidi, then Alicia all picked Duo Transcend, the one that did the Greatest Showman rollerblade spinning act. Not surprised, but a little unfortunate that not only are they similar acts, like they're so similarly named, like it's just really hard to draw a line between the two.
Yeah, they were literally 6th and 7th. That's how close it was. And on the stage, I didn't feel like it was. I didn't feel like it was 6th and 7th. It might have been 5th and 8th. But the way that they kind of broke down these groups, you had 12 acts. I didn't expect them to do, 6 groups. I thought they might do 4 groups of 3, or a combination of 2s and 3s. But to really just literally do 6 groups, one of you goes through in each group, seemed a little weird for me. And then for it to come down to the 2 duos. And then Duo Destiny not even get a vote. Yeah,
and so sometime in the future when they do I'm sorry, it's neither of you going through. Now they've not done that, so it makes that much more surprising or special or whatever when it does happen. So
yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so in the finals we've got Hans, Tyler Butler Figueroa, Marcelito Pomoy, Alexa Lauenberger, Sandow Trio Russian Bar, and Duo Transcend. I'm looking forward to this. Some of my choices did not make it through here, but some of mine did. And then, of course, we've got the 4 golden buzzers. Some of those will be very good, too. There's one of those that I'm not at all interested in.
If you happen to have that complete list, those 4 golden buzzers, do you happen?
Not handy, but I'm remembering there's the young lady from episode 1 was like the jazz singer. We had the dancing Stormtroopers that was
Oh yeah.
Simon's pick. And then there was two others. I don't remember who they were. And you can try to pull that up while we wrap up here.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not excited about seeing Stormtroopers again, dancing Stormtroopers that we barely saw the first time.
Right. The Unbeatable, I think, was one of the other golden buzzers. So we had who's the other one? Probably another singer, the way that the way these things normally work. And that's a little embarrassing that we don't have that.
This is what you guys tune in
those
for.
Notes.
So.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening this far into the episode, hey, thank you.
Yeah. And Angelina Jordan from Norway's Got Talent.
She was the jazz singer, right?
Yep. And then I have a week where I don't have notes because I wasn't here that day. I didn't do my homework for week 3, which I think is the Unbeatable week. I think week 2 is Stormtroopers.
Yeah, that's the one that he stole from Howie.
Yeah. And then I think week 3 is Unbeatable.
Then who was last week?
That's what I'm pulling up. Silhouettes.
Oh, Silhouettes.
Is that right? Yeah. So I think it's Silhouettes.
That sounds right to me.
Yep.
So,
Golden Buzzer.
boy, 3 different dancers, 3 different dance troupes. Our only singers then are
the jazz singer, Angelina Jordan and Marcelina Pomoy.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And they're not American singers. Well, let's consider Hans.
Well, I guess, yeah, he's an entertainer that sings.
Yes. But these are not these are not your typical singers that just stand up there and sing a pop song or a Broadway song.
Yep, non-traditional by a lot. So
yep.
Wow. All right. Well, good stuff. So there you go. Those 4 golden buzzers that we just recapped for you. And those 6 of the 12 that we just recapped for you. So with that, man, I think we've got just the one more week. And anything else you want to say before we put a bow on this one?
No, I think that's good. We probably should have mentioned this early on. Apologize for getting this out late. I was having some internet issues on Thursday night. We had some major rains come through in my area and caused some flooding, and actually a tree fell and knocked out the cable in my area. So I didn't have internet for almost 24 hours.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's been rough. I was actually watching the episode. I think I was getting ready to watch Duo Destiny, and the internet went out. So
oh man.
So thank you all for sticking around and waiting. Apologize it got out on Saturday instead of Friday. Just small technical issues. So
Yep. Well, you've got something to listen to before the final episode on Monday. Looking forward to recapping that again in another week. And boy, with that, I'll wish you all a happy week, and look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Yep. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.